These text boxes are EVP captions from EVPs that I hear later when reviewing audio. I feel like I've got somebody kind of like knocking on my shoulder like, hey, tell them this. I'm Brett. I'm a psychic medium, and I am here at a cemetery right next to a freeway because it's Southern California, and that's how we do it. Today I'm going to answer some questions about what it is to be psychic, what it's like, those kind of things. So, first question, when did I first accept that I was psychic? When I was a little kid, I used to have experiences with ghosts and spirits coming to me and trying to interact with me, and I think even taking me over sometimes. And I didn't really understand what was happening. I thought it was fascinating, but I didn't understand. The first time somebody came to me, I was either 6 or 8 years old, and I was this little kid that didn't know what to do. And this woman came to me, and she had been in an accident on the road that was kind of behind our house. And she came to me looking for help. And I could see her, I could hear her, I could feel her. All of this stuff was overwhelming and took over like all of my perception. So I just freaked out, and she left, and I was left kind of like crying because I didn't understand what was going on. And that was like my first experience with it. But I didn't think anything of it afterwards. I mean, when you're a little kid, you aren't really analyzing what's going on. It wasn't until I started doing stuff with paranormal investigations that I was like, wait a second, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been having these experiences, and everything that psychics that this paranormal group is working with, all of the psychics, I can do whatever they're doing. Like I would ask, what are you doing? Well, I'm sensing this. And it's like, oh yeah, the person's right over there. Or I would hear them or see them or whatever. And it just didn't occur to me that I was psychic. I always had these experiences. I remember Crystal and I going to a cemetery. This is like when we first got together. We went to some cemetery because I'm all about cemeteries apparently. And she said I started talking to somebody and there was nobody else there. And I'm talking to this girl and telling her that she can go to heaven and they have rabbits there, or they have bunnies and stuff like that. And so she told me this afterwards, and I don't remember doing this. So I'm guessing there are plenty of times in my life where I've been talking to spirits, even out loud, and I've been unaware of it. So yeah, it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized I was a medium all my life. How can I tell the difference between my own thoughts and psychic impressions? That just takes practice. It's really hard to tell because they come in kind of in the same way. They come in through thoughts or they come in through your imagination. And so you have to be able to distinguish what you think or how you would think and things that kind of catch you off guard. If you disagree with the information coming in, that's a big cue that it's not your own information. If it surprises you, that's something else that is probably not you. I feel like I've got somebody kind of like knocking on my shoulder like, hey, tell them this. Like I wasn't thinking of that at the time. Like that wasn't my own idea that interrupted my trying to figure out how to explain the difference. And now I've lost my train of thought. They're like, sorry, and then they step back. Yeah, I'm fine with spirit interaction. And that was a great example, but I forgot. There was like a third thing I was going to tell you. Maybe if I can remember, I'll put it into voiceover right now. The third thing I was trying to remember was that it's information you have no way of knowing. Okay, what are different types of psychic abilities? We call them the clairs. Big French words here. Clairvoyance, that's seeing psychically, and you can see, like physically see something that's physically there, or it can be in your head and feel a lot like imagination. I should probably not do this when I'm explaining my abilities. Yeah, it can be inside your head, or it can be like external, or it can present that way to you. So that's clairvoyance. Clairaudience is kind of the same way. That's hearing, clairaudience, so audio, hearing. And that can be where you're hearing it and it could sound like a person outside of you. And if you've watched my videos, you'll know that sometimes I'm like, why are these people yelling? And there are no people. That's one way of hearing it. And then most of the time, it's hearing the voice in your head, and it's hearing it kind of like your own voice, your own internal voice. Like in the morning when the alarm clock goes off and you're like, come on, 5 more minutes. You don't necessarily say it out loud, but that's what you're thinking. That's what happens in your head. Or when you go to the grocery store and you're like, okay, I need to get groceries. What do I need? And you start reciting the stuff in your head. It's the same kind of voice. You don't hear like the voice of God talking. It's not Morgan Freeman. It can be this same little tiny voice. Claircognizance, that's a knowing. That is just knowing, and it's weird how that works. That kind of works out kind of like having memories or knowledge of something. And it's just knowing something, and it'll be just a thought that pops into your head, or it's like you already knew it as it comes up. It's very strange. That one's hard to, that one's a little bit harder to identify when it happens. Clairgustance, I believe that is smell or taste. And that one, not a whole lot of people have, but if you do have it, you can kind of set it so that you can identify certain things by tastes. So I've known about psychics that do work in cold cases, and they will taste what a corpse is like. They'll have that kind of taste or sensation when they find where a body is. And I mean, this is like looking at a map and trying to find it. And there are some people who, I'll skip what those people do, because like tastes and smells, it's usually not a positive thing if somebody just has that sense and they try to develop it. But a lot of us do end up with clairgustance kinds of situations where they'll smell a perfume, or they'll smell tobacco, or they'll smell like rose water or something like that when certain spirits are around, or that might be a way of things being presented. Actually, clairaudience, that is smell. Clairgustance is taste. Claircognizance is knowing. Clairsentience is the empathic feeling. That's feeling with your senses, kind of. It's feeling whether there is something close by, somebody around you. I'm still noticing the person that backed off from when, I feel like, high five. I'm still feeling the person that backed off when they interrupted me or tried to help, because it's hard to do both physical world thinking and also be receiving information from the other side, because you're kind of splitting your awareness or attention. So different psychics and mediums, light workers, all of us, we've all got different strengths and different weaknesses and different ways of receiving information. A lot of people usually have one that they're really strong with, and they perceive, with 1 or 2 abilities. I'm pretty lucky. I've got a little bit of all of them, but I would say my strongest psychic ability is clairaudience, hearing the other side, because I can hear them and I can actually get the information they're trying to tell me most of the time, right? I can get it most of the time. And then my clairvoyance is off and on. It depends on, it depends. With clairvoyance, sometimes it's just this flash, just this little tiny glimpse of information I'm getting, or this tiny glimpse of somebody. So I keep seeing this person over here, and I'm seeing them like holding their hands. And that's the thing I'm seeing. I can't identify whether this is a male or a female. It seems like a very female kind of pose, but I also feel like it might be a little bit masculine. So I don't know. That's how clairvoyance works with me. Clairaudience, I will hear them talking, and they aren't talking right now. Yeah, but other psychics will have different modes that they work in, or different ways of perceiving information. So if you aren't feeling it or seeing it the same way somebody else is, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you're perceiving it differently. Because you can put a few psychics in a building, and we might all pick up on one of the same thing, but we might have different impressions from different things going on. And if you're paying attention to what I'm doing on this channel, you'll notice that there are spirits all over the place. There are entities, there are non-humans all over the place, and everybody's really interested, especially when you light up or you open up. They're interested. They want to see what you're doing. They want to be involved or help. Thanks. Okay. Am I always turned on? Am I always open? I think I am. I question it quite often because I don't feel like I'm open, but the other side is always talking about how I am open, and even when I don't think I'm open, I'm open. And I think it just has to do with what I'm aware of or what I'm paying attention to. If you've noticed on these videos, I'm a little distracted. I lose focus, and my focus is all over the place. And sometimes there's a lot going on, and I'm open, and they're talking about it, and they're telling me I'm open, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, I'm not open. And it's just because I'm not listening or I'm not paying attention. But I'm open pretty much all the time. I don't think we're supposed to be open all the time. I think we're supposed to shut down, and we're supposed to have, our office hours. And we open up, we do our thing, and then we close down, and maybe we'll keep it on some very low idle or something like that. But I think I'm wide open all the time, and I think that's probably unhealthy from what I've heard from other psychics. It's unusual. So I don't recommend it. Follow the other people. They know what they're talking about. Don't do as I do with this one. Close down when you're done. If I'm psychic, why don't I win the lottery? Why don't I do better at casinos? That's my question for my team. I always joke, because on my rides, I like to go and hit casinos. There'll be the Indian casinos, or I'll go to Las Vegas or something like that. And as I'm rolling in, like as I'm walking in the door, I tell my team, all right, let's do this. And they're always like, that's not how it works, Brett. I think it has to do with our life here. We aren't supposed to get any cheats, no cheat codes, no ways of kind of getting around things. We're supposed to be living our life here, going through all of the same kinds of experiences everybody has. So if we could just win the lottery or something like that, that kind of lets us skip a lot of learning, skip a lot of education along the way. And so I don't want to skip anything. I don't want to cheat my way ahead, but I'm open to winning the lottery. What are the good and bad things about being psychic? The good things, like my life is so rich. There's so much going on around me all the time, and so much that I can tap into. And I find out all these interesting things, and I meet really wonderful beings. And I'm learning about the universe, and I'm learning about the afterlife, and not so much about the afterlife, I guess. It's kind of what I'm getting told. Yeah, my life is so much richer for being open and being able to perceive all of these things. My vision is getting weird, so that is also, there's a that's a possible thing going on psychically with me. My vision changing a little bit. I feel like everybody's having to back off a little bit. When they crowd me, I think I might have vision issues. That's not a benefit of being psychic. Other things are, with all of these rewards and all of this exciting stuff that I get to see and feel and understand, and I mean, I'm learning, and I get to help, and all of these awesome things. And then another part of it is that with all of these things, it can be terrifying because there's all of this unknown that is coming at you, and sometimes you can't shut it off. Sometimes beings are trying to get your attention and you can't do anything about it. You can't get these images out of your head. When there are bad guys around, they might try to torment me and put nasty images in my head. They might tell me really negative kinds of things. So, I mean, there are some drawbacks from this. And then also, if you're a out psychic, and I mean, like, I've admitted I'm psychic, I talk about fairies and ETs and all sorts of crazy stuff, right? That is definitely not accepted by a percentage of the population, and people say all sorts of nasty things to me, and that's a drawback. But yeah, I mean, it's mostly love. I get a lot of love, and I really appreciate you guys following along and being part of this. And, you know, thank you. And yeah, I think it's good for everybody to open up and learn more about this and be more psychic. I think everybody's psychic. I mean, I know everybody's psychic. Everybody has these abilities. Some of us might have been kind of persuaded not to trust them or not to believe in them through our childhood, like through, you go to school and you have parents and you have authority telling you that having your invisible friend is a bad thing or isn't true. You notice I said invisible and not imaginary friend. That's how I feel about it. I think we're all capable of being psychic. We're capable of using our intuition. I think it just comes down to awareness. Us paying attention to these impressions and things that might not be our own. Don't just blow something off. I think the thing is, you need to trust your abilities. You need to trust the impressions you get. If you notice that you get the chills at certain times, pay attention. Is it because it's cold? Is it because you thought of something? Is it because of something else? Try to connect the dots. I think everybody's empathic, so I think everybody is going to be able to feel things. That's one of those abilities that we haven't been told is just our imagination, because luckily we've all been able to feel certain things to a certain extent. Whereas if you're seeing your imaginary friend when you're a little kid, that's where they say no. Clairvoyance isn't something that is as accepted, or clairaudience, hearing voices. That's another thing that'll get you in trouble, and it's not accepted. I think a lot of the homeless people we see that are having arguments, they are having legitimate arguments with somebody else that's hanging around, probably attachments. Again, there's like another video if you want to catch up, but I think we're all psychic. I think we're all able to do it. So start embracing it. Go ahead and go with it. You don't have to tell other people about your impressions. Just sit with it, work with it on your own. You know, don't tell family and friends if you're afraid they're going to think you're crazy. And be really careful, because even though you think that they might be open to it, they might think you're crazy, they might judge you, all of that stuff. So be careful with that. But yeah, I think we're all psychic, and I want you to embrace it. All right, so I need to get out of here. I'm running out of time, I think. If you like this, if you got something out of this, please share with others and subscribe. And please comment. Tell me about your psychic abilities. Tell me about how you're perceiving the other side. And thanks for watching.